we're going to bring up Troy McEwen next, Senator Troy McEwen, to give us some information also.
Okay, first things first. Happy St. Patrick's Day. By the way, has anybody here ever looked at an Irish flag? A third of it's green, the middle's white, and the other's orange. And St. Patrick went to Ireland and brought Christianity to a bunch of barbarians like me. So today's a special day for me, and I just have to talk about it for a moment. The green part of the flag represents Catholicism, and St. Patrick, by the way, is not from Ireland, and he's not from England either. No, he's Welsh. The white part in the middle stands for purity. The orange part were the people in Ireland who decided they wanted God, but not the way the Catholics were pushing God. And they're called Orange Irishmen, and they're Protestants. So it's a special day to me. I'm on the orange side of the flag, obviously, but there's the green side. That's good too. So having said that, happy St. Patrick's Day. And now we'll get into a couple things that are near and dear to my heart. And John was right, property taxes. By the way, John's job as the chairman of appropriations is much harder than my job as the chairman of the Anti-Revenue Committee, which is stacked with a bunch of anti-revenuers. So we just made jokes for a session and passed some stuff into law. 3 years ago, I stood up here in front of y'all and said I wanted to get rid of the horrible, nasty, rotten, tangible personal property tax. I failed. But in the process, I took care of a lot of small businesses. Or we did. I shouldn't say I. It was a team effort. A lot of people helped me out, to include John in the House, who got it through after I got it through the Senate. So one thing, if you're a small business owner, $75,000 off the top. What I sent to the House was $50,000. And can you believe them buggers added another $25,000 on top of it and then voted for it? I was almost doing naked cartwheels when that came back. Oh, it's going to get worse. So that came back, and if I'm not going to be a pig covered in doo-doo and rolled in sugar, the governor signed it, which should scare y'all about what John was talking about, what could happen. The next one was, now when your property, your tangible personal property, gets depreciated to 20%, I wanted it to go to 0 and fall off the rolls, but we got it down to 20%. But what the big part of that bill did was it got rid of the escalators. So if you bought a tractor that's a 1954 year tractor, they escalated that 300%, and you pay taxes on that. Now you're going to pay 20% of a $10,000 tractor that you bought in 1954, and I'm guessing at the number. So if there's any farmers or ranchers here, I think a tractor was about $10,000 in 54. I might be wrong. Might have been 5,000. Lower?
Yeah, about 500, 600. Yeah, depending on what type of tractor.
They were
Regular,
they were much smaller back then.
Yeah, Ford.
So they're not gonna pay taxes on their tractors. And if they do, it's gonna be $4. And one of my proudest moments happened by accident. As a joke, I spent 2 years talking about a meat grinder. Y'all remember the meat grinder? I put an amendment onto a bill for Meat Grinder Monday. And I didn't say you don't get the day off. I said you do get the day off. And the Senate kind of passed it, and I sort of had to beg for him to take it back because it was frivolous. However, I couldn't believe my friends in the Senate said, Meat Grinder Monday. And by the way, in another month, I'll have Meat Grinder Monday pins for everybody. The lobbyists want to do that. The people that really don't like me. But that was nice. And then we got into the residential property stuff. It was a victory at 25%. It wasn't what we envisioned, but that's okay. It was still the largest tax cut in the history of the state of Wyoming. And a lot of people worked hard on that. Are we done? No, we're not done. There was something that came up in that bill and some other bills that you're going to see in the future. Next session, my biggest goal is to get rid of the term owner occupied. You should get a tax cut if you own the property, period, not if you live there. And you shouldn't have to justify getting your tax cut being in your house for 8 months. So you'll see that hopefully go away. You'll definitely see us fight against it. I'm fortunate I get to work with a man named Tony Locke in the House, and we work well together. We support each other. I wrote a bill for tangible value. Damn, what am I thinking of, John? Help me.
Oh, wow.
Acquisition value.
Acquisition value. And Tony wrote one. And Tony's a lot smarter than me. His was 20 pages long. Mine was 3. His covered everything. Mine covered just acquisition value. So we're going to refine that. That's coming. We're also going to look at, 2 years ago, I asked y'all a question in here. If property taxes went away, would you be mad if sales tax was increased? So I'm asking the question again, is everybody happy with that still? Because it's 1.5 probably.
Here's the deal. Property taxes stay. Sales tax, if I don't spend my money, I don't pay it.
There you go. And oh, by the way, the legislature is no longer grappling with the inequities of 23 counties. 23 counties, which today want to be in charge of everything they do. Tomorrow, they want some state help coming in. So I think that's a good way to go. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to present it over the interim. And we'll come up with a bill. And just like tangible personal property tax, it'll be a long-term fight. It might go through in a year. We have the right people right now, but it might not. But at the end of the day, that makes the counties responsible for themselves. We're also looking at a thing called redistribution or distribution of sales tax. Right now, it's a 51-49 split. 51 to the state, of course, and we take 1% to run the program, and we give 49% back to the counties. Isn't that nice of us? Yeah, where all the sales tax is collected. By the way, I got to send a report in once a month on that. I'd like to see the counties get about 65-70% of it, the state get 30%. That will hurt Campbell County a little, because we won't have a big fat fund to give the governor to send to carbon sequestration and killing coal and doing whatever they want to do with it. So that's another thing we're looking at. I had my head down most of the session, so John's talked about a lot of the other bills. I read them, and I think 95% of the time I voted right. There's a couple times I voted wrong, unfortunately. But you can see my voting record. At the end of the day, we need to get back to what we do in Wyoming. And we need to let the counties run the counties. And we probably need to get people like me and John out of your personal business. So that's my next focus. The other thing, I'm so happy that What Is a Woman passed, just so I could commit the faux pas again. You have a ho hoo hoo or a ding dong. It's still that simple. The stuff we passed on the abortion legislation, it's fantastic. Since we started that, it has already saved 99 babies. 99 babies. And then John had a great graphic that I was going to speak to, so I'm still going to speak to it. This huge tax cut that you're hearing about, the mayor of Cheyenne's going to lay off 20 sheriffs. It didn't turn out that way. I do agree with you, though. But the bottom line is, Campbell County lost $1.2 million out of an almost $120 or $30 million budget. It was $110 last year. Nobody's even going to notice. Nobody, except for y'all. When you pay your taxes, and there's people that are mad it was only 25%, and I agree with them. They should be mad. But it's still 25% less you're going to send the government. We're looking at, I didn't have the backbone to do my last tax bill this year, because getting the first three through the House and the Senate and listening to everybody whine, ooh, Troy, you and your friend Tony Locke in the House and the Senate have taken almost $190 million away from the state. It's a $12 billion budget. Anybody want to do the math? It's not much. So we got to go back. Next thing I want to do is get rid of tax on electricity. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. First of all, we get in your pockets and we take money to support the electricity industry. And after we've taken that money out of your pockets, we're going to send the electricity back to you and we're going to tax you on it. So that's where we'll be headed. We're going to look at the exemptions. We're going to clean that up. It's a mess. Anybody see the movie The Campaign? get your brooms out. We're going to clean some things up. But it's so difficult. Some of the exemptions, the veteran exemption, show up with your DD 214, fill out form, blah, 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 and then we'll give you a tax break. And then if you're 65 years or older and been in your house for 25 years, you get to come in and fill out a form. Come on. They know how long you've been in your house. You know how I know they know how long you've been in your house? They've been sending you tax notifications once a year, every year. Smithy, 122 Eagle Avenue. Send us back $10,000 or whatever. And if you've been paying a mortgage, how much of a trail is that? So if we're going to do tax relief, we're going to do tax relief. And if we're going to do tax relief, we should do it for everyone. The wealthy in Teton County should get the same tax break. And if Teton County doesn't want those people there, well, you want to be a county, you're in charge of yourself, get them out. The owner-occupied stuff. I had an aha moment one day in Cheyenne. I was thinking it through just one day. I'm not that good. I jumped up in bed one night and I'm like, I get it. And I didn't get it before, why they're pushing the owner-occupied. Anybody in here a landlord? Raise your hands. Should you get the tax break on the property you own that you don't live in? Exactly. And it just dawned on me what this is.
Not only that, but if you don't give them a break, then the renters, who are the poorest amongst us, they get to pay it.
Exactly. So we'll get rid of the owner-occupied thing, or we'll try to. Yes, ma'am.
Did our legislators get rid of what was passed as a good thing back in the 90s about stuff that we pay taxes, property taxes on what we bought a home for, not for what it could be sold for or what our neighbors are selling their homes for?
That's acquisition.
Acquisition.
Acquisition value.
Would that ever get taken care of? Would we need to do that as an amendment to the Constitution?
We have, well, it depends how we write the bill. But the easy answer is yes, we need to do an amendment to the Constitution.
Because our assessors are just gonna make our property taxes go up higher, our property's worth more.
They can't. They can't now. A year before, we put a 4% cap on them.
Every year.
Yep, we can go up 4% every year.
It does. It's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing. Go ahead.
So adding on to her question, so they're basically, you gave them a class, you gave the highest revenue person in the state of Wyoming a class during a committee meeting, because I witnessed it, that they're actually taxing us on unrealized property gain.
Yes.
And so how do we get the assessors, because from 2022 to today, my property went up 287%. Okay, so how do we get the tax assessors to,
What a great question.
Acquisition value.
yeah, the acquisition? but-
Leads me into a segue.
Okay.
How do we solve that problem?
Right.
We're going to look at the appeals process, which, by the way, is broken. And we're going to play miniature Donald Trump over the interim. There is this creature out there called an equalization board, a county board, and a state equalization board. The county boards 3 times last year, not a lot, but not a lot of people appeal their property taxes, found in favor of the property tax owner. And then it got sent to the state equalization board and overturned. So you want to fix the problem with the assessor, get rid of the equalization boards. And then make the assessor responsible. And if you're upset, sue the assessor. Don't sue the state. Don't go through the myriads of difficulty to get to the end of the day. So we're looking at that too. Well, we're going to have to pass a law so you can. But if we get rid of the equalization boards,
That's what I told Brent.
we get rid of all their overhead cover.
Why'd you guys go 50 instead of?
Who wants to run for county assessor next week? Anybody? Yes, sir.
I guess,
Oh,
and I've thought
that's
about this
huge.
for years, this country retired.
Oh, that's huge.
For years in this country, when it comes to retired people, we tax their Social Security. That's a federal thing. It is a sin. They've worked all their lives. And it was a tax to begin with. It was, okay? And then these people in all of the counties in Wyoming, of course, compared to other states, we're lucky. We don't pay the property taxes. Even our neighbors in South Dakota pay. So we're very fortunate, but we've also got lawmakers that are paying property taxes also for businesses and homes. But now I forgot where I was going with, why don't, it has nothing to do with age. No. But why after people retire, do they still need to pay property taxes?
Why are we even paying them to begin with? But that's another very good point. You don't ever really get to own your house.
Exactly.
They hate it when I say that. And I'm going to tell you how good the liberals and the Democrats and the rhinos are. One of them stood up on the floor of the Senate and said, "You're not paying property tax. You're paying taxes for services provided to you." I'm like, did I just hear that? Yes, sir.
My question is like on your vehicles, like I've got a 1989 C3500, I'm still paying $189 a year for them. And they're giving me a little 25-cent sticker to put on it. And I guess, somewhere that should drop off. My truck's an antique almost.
You can actually register it as an antique now. It's $50. So you can if you
So
want.
You pay that a year or,
A year.
well, that doesn't make.
It's cheaper than $189. Give us a little more time. We're working on it. Yes, sir.
Sunset clause out of that 65 and 25 year tax time.
No.
No,
Can you repeat his question? for
but
the-
we did on the 25% off.
He wanted to know if on the 50%, and I hope you all have a good sense of humor, because it kind of got labeled the geezer relief, so we could keep the bill straight.
Just because everybody in the Senate qualifies.
Not everybody. But no, we did try to get a bill through to get rid of the sunset date on that. And we'll do that again. There's a lot of things we have to do over the interim. We have to go through all the exemptions, get them lined out, and figure out where we're going to go next session. We have a great opportunity, as John pointed out, to get some of this stuff done that we haven't had forever. So why we have it, we need to put some stuff in statute and law.
I'm kind of surprised they have the time to pass any bills. With all the rhetoric that they're doing with those, doesn't seem like they should have the time.
Well, we didn't have that big a problem in the Senate or the House of Wyoming. I think you're kind of talking federally, right? I'm a big believer in the 10th Amendment. Went to my first school's facilities meeting. Got a packet of 189 pages or 186 of the judge's beliefs of what we're doing with the school system. And everybody started panicking. And I'm like, stop. Keep in mind, I spent 27 years in the Army. This is nothing other than a suggestion. We don't have to do all this. And I don't think we're going to. And I think the big fight's going to come down between the legislature and the Supreme Court of Wyoming. We need to push back. Who cares what you say? Understand this. This country, this state, was founded on 3 branches of government. And they're not equal. You always hear them all say, oh, these 3 equal branches. They're not equal. You go read the Constitution. The legislature carries the big stick. And the next stick is the executive branch. Guess who has the smallest stick? The weenies wearing black robes. Because we've allowed that. So that's where we got to go next, too. And I think in the next 2 to 4 years, we have the ability, I don't know if we can get there all the way, but I think we can swing a big stick and fight back. The other thing, the governor vetoed 8 critical bills. The House and the Senate voted enormously to override every veto. The House and the Senate, as much as it appeared we didn't get along, we were capable of getting every important bill onto his desk. So he had 72 hours. And we had time to override the vetoes. Time. And that's what we did.
That's the difference in leadership in the Senate and the House.
And I'm going to tell you, you have what some would call children running the state legislature. In fact, I think that's what Tom Lubnow called us, didn't he?
I don't read his Twitter.
It came up on my Facebook page on Cowboy State Daily, and I had to read it. But at the end of the day, he's saying we're too young, we don't have enough experience. The governor's out there telling everybody that we're going to break every poor county. We're not going to break every poor county. We're good people. But we're going to help everybody who lives in a poor county save some property taxes. We're going to try to protect babies. But at the end of the day, he's mad at us. The children took over and got more done in one legislative session than has happened ever. You start looking, school of choice. I love that argument. People are telling me, oh, you're going to take tons of money away from our school system. Our world-class school system. Come on, straight faces, world-class, and we're going to brag that we're 6th or 7th in the nation on NAEP scores. If y'all want to go look that up, 25% of our children can do math at grade level, and 23%. And by the way, we are 7th. We're also tied with 10 other states at 7th. Campbell County High School graduated seniors, 42% of them could read at grade level. Thunder Basin had 40%. You know what my answer is? Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. Let's pump some sewage into Thunder Basin, get their scores up. Yeah. Our superintendent, and she's a wonderful woman, she does great things. But she will stand in front of you and tell you, 49% is not that bad. Utah's at 47%. South Dakota's at 46%. We're the best state in a 10-state area. We produce the smartest dummies of the area. No, they take them out.
So you cut the sports tax by probably 50%, and that would be a big plus.
And my last thing I'm going to talk about, and I'll be real quick, is I did support the school. I said I would, and I did. It was a rough road, though. We finally got to school after we took control of their major maintenance money away from them. They need a new school. They do. Teachers and kids need a new high school. But you know what they don't need? An administration that builds a swim pool that is one of 5 in the nation. Does anybody here ever think we're going to run the Olympics in Gillette, Wyoming? No. Does anybody believe we're a sports tourism place? Do you think we're going to run the NCAAs here? Why do we need a floor that comes up and goes down? And I'm going to tell you this. I went to high school and grade school in Wyoming. I was a swimmer. And the pool I swam in high school is at Giant Central, and it's still the same pool. So those are some things we got to fix, and I just want to tell y'all I did support the school. I lived up to what I said at the school board meeting, but we got it done our way, not theirs. That block grant they got, go ahead.
Based on the financials of the school, I still believe we need a forensic audit of the finances. Because I think that'll flesh out a lot of questions that people have now, and in the past. And we hold people accountable, because at the end of the day, that's not their money. They think it is, but it's not. And I think that's when we're gonna satisfy the hunger in this community.
Well, we just stood up a serious management audit committee. And it has teeth. Chris Knapp's not here. He's on it. Troy McEwen is here. I'm on it. And the first thing we're going to look at is major maintenance for high schools. We gave Rock Springs $150 million, John. I got to ask the appropriator. Do you know what they have in their bank account today? $150 million. Do you know what they don't have? A school, a plan, a design, but they sitting on the money. And we got to quit doing that. Campbell County needed to be fixed. A lot of the other schools we've rebuilt didn't. So we got to look at that too. And I've more than taken my 20 minutes. Now, any other last questions? I will turn it back to Lyle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Really appreciate that. Might as well stick around for a little bit and have some of those goodies back there. I had a little bit of the dessert. My wife made that corned beef hors d'oeuvre that you serve with bread. It's not bad. Don't tell her I said that, but it's not bad. Oh, she's gonna see it on the video. Yeah, uh-huh.
Don't ever get a microphone around a politician. I did fail to enumerate. Representative Bear also supported the school.
Yes, you did. Despite what the-
And at the end of the day, I'm the one that fought it, and they beat him up way worse than me. So you got to give him credit.
So, thank you very much for attending this meeting. The next meeting, I guess, will be first Monday in April, second Monday. And the topic is going to be, we talked about it earlier.
Try to bring in some of the newly elected Republican committee for Campbell County.
For Campbell County, new elected Republican elected people for Campbell County at the next meeting, second Monday of April. But we're going to also spend some time on this planning situation as well. And we'll have more information for that. And maybe, it depends on where it goes, we may even call a special meeting in April to spend some more time on this planning. But we've got to somehow or another bring it to the public that the public is in charge of planning our city, not non-governmental organizations, and just doing planning because there could be, let's say, individuals that want to line their pockets.
Well, I wanted to, since I'm on the Comprehensive Planning Committee with 11 others, I have emails, because I'm going to see if it's legal to let people know, because we vote March 24th, the 12 of us, and if there's more, if we, the majority goes, it'll go to the city council. But if we turn it down, then they don't get to even vote on it, the city council, but I'm going to see if that's even legal.
April 14th. Second Monday, April 14th. Yeah, and then I'm going to try and get with city council men and women in the meantime. Now, this planning that's going to be approved or whatever, I'm assuming going forward that the city would have the luxury of changing this plan as it goes forward. Yeah, okay. So it's not too late, but we've got to band together some minds and some brains to figure out how we make this go in a direction that the people in our community want it to go. Yes. Thank you.